Hi everyone, my name is David, and welcome to the channel. I'll be mainly uploading gameplay footage of Star Wars Unlimited, focusing on local tournaments and store showdowns here in the central Illinois region where I play. I really enjoy the VODs coming out of the competitive streams, and I wanted to contribute to that. I think here in central Illinois, there are a lot of players that like to put their own spin on popular archetypes and meta decks, so I want to highlight those matchups that might not always be featured on PQ streams and such. So to start the channel off in this video, I'm going to showcase a fun matchup between myself and a friend that plays at my local shop, and I hope you enjoy. All right, we have a match between myself on the right playing Han Solo from Jump to Lightspeed, running the Thermal Oscillator base, versus my buddy Justin playing Jabba the Hutt Yellow. Justin's a pretty good player. Recently took down the store showdown at Titan Games in Champaign, Urbana. Not playing this deck, but Justin is a player that is not afraid to experiment and play some cool stuff. And I try to do the same sometimes. Um, with the odd Han, seeing some play in the competitive scene. We've seen it do fairly well at some planetary qualifiers. So this game, we're just mainly trying to have fun and test out the stream. So first play, I got the C3PO down, calling out that card to draw, using Han's ability there. Justin plays out um, the Zagirian Star Hopper in space here. Now with the Han Solo deck, we want to start flooding the board with odd costs to have a great turn on the 5 resource turn. So here we use Han's ability to reveal the Millennium Falcon on top, and then when C3PO attacks, we know the number there, and it's basically a free draw ability. Pretty great. And so Justin continues to flood the space arena, putting down the Miss Hunter. And I tap 3 to play that Millennium Falcon I just drew. Hopefully, be able to put some pilots on there and maybe clear some things out or get that pushing for damage. The Zagirian Starhopper goes into base for 2, and myself taking initiative. So I really need to watch out here if there's some sort of pump or a way for one of his units to kill the Falcon, especially if he puts the Jabba's bounty on, which would allow him to play something early. But here I come down with the open fire to get rid of that Miss Hunter to help my Millennium Falcon survive a little bit. I call this Falcon the Cozy Falcon because we often have a lot of pilots on there and can get pretty cozy in there. So here he attaches the Boba Fett pilot, dealing 1 damage on there with the when attached effect. So this Falcon is probably going to die this turn. But let's see if we can get some extra damage in. I'm thinking here that I want to try to pump some damage, so I use Han's ability. We see the Hot Shot Blaster on top, costs 1, so Falcon goes in for 4. He's going to put that bounty on the Falcon, meaning that when he kills it, he can play a unit that costs 1 less. And here we're going to hit in with C3PO, calling 1 off the top and drawing that Hot Shot Blaster we just saw. And the Star Hopper swings into the Falcon, collecting the bounty. So we're going to probably see a 3-drop come out. Here we see the Cartel Turncoat, as Han will need a space unit to deploy on in order to activate its great effect, which is ready resources equal to the amount of odd cards you control out in the field. And we see the Hunter of the Haxian Brood come out with that discount, but there is no present bounty, so it doesn't come out with shielded. So first thing that Han's going to have to do is deal with the Zagrean Starhopper to have a clean deploy. We see the open fire come out here. You see a lot of the odd Han Lake Country decks run the Never Tell Me the Odds. When you're running red, it makes it a little easier, a little more consistent damage with the open fire at the same cost. All right, we see the Hunter of the Haxian Brood take out C-3PO, shutting off that card draw engine. Now Han's going to have to populate the board to just get a lot of small units out and hopefully ready a bunch of resources and get some extra cards in play. See Justin tapping 3 for the Jump Master that has Sentinel, so providing an obstacle in space for myself. I have another turncoat here. I'm going to tap 1. Looks like we're going to see it hit the field. And now Han can flip and ready 4 resources, so not enough for something like a Plo Koon or a Cassian out of the row, but hopefully enough to get some additional units out on the field. Justin's wondering if he should put a bounty on it, but likely having nothing in his hand to take advantage of that, just claims the initiative. And here we see Han Solo is about to deploy on the Ready Cartel Turncoat and controls 4 odd costs. It upgrades and units, readies 4 resources. We're going to see the Cartel Turncoat smash into the contracted Jump Master, taking 2 damage back, but basically clearing the space arena for a lot of damage to come through. Usually Han Solo will want to have more damage on the opponent's base at this time, but with Jabba the Hutt being a slower deck with a 7 resource deploy, this gives some time here. And then I throw down a Soldier of the 501st. Would have loved to get some additional units out on the field. Sometimes that's the best you can do here. I believe here I did draw a Cassian Andor that went into the row to get some extra damage when he is smuggled out. Now here, something like an Overwhelming Barrage could do well to soften the board state. Jabba the Hutt these decks do have trouble against the go wide strategy, and we see the 5 resources get tapped, and the Overwhelming Barrage should take out the piloted Cartel Turncoat, and collecting that bounty, drawing a card there. Justin's figuring out where to put the other damage, goes ahead, puts it on the other turncoat, make it a little easier to kill, and hopefully draw another card. So with all resources tapped, this gives me an idea of what to expect for the rest of the turn, so allows me to plan out. One of those units on the ground is going to get annihilated by the Hunter of the Haxian Brood, so I'm going to get the most damage in, get that 2 damage in from the Soldier of the 501st, 1 damage from its base power, and then it has Raid 1. So we see the R2 getting taken out. 3 health left on the Hunter of the Haxian Brood. Once the barrage falls off, just 1 left. We see 2 damage coming in from the Cartel Turncoat, putting Justin at 10 on his base. He claims initiative. And here we see the Cassian coming out for another 3 damage. And first, we do Daring Raid, taking out the Hunter of the Haxian Brood. That's key. Prevents it from taking out any units. And also, as Jabba enters the flip turn, he needs a unit out on the field to capture, as Jabba's flip is when he's deployed, a friendly unit captures an enemy unit, but if you keep the board clear, it mitigates that flip ability. So 13 damage on Justin's base, 4 damage on mine. Now I am running that 27 health thermal oscillator. Um, and we see Sidon Ithano coming down, giving -2/-2 to the Cartel Turncoat, taking it out, also allowing Justin to draw another card. One of the benefits of running Thermal Oscillator is that it helps enable those combos and those cards you want to see. Now, the Republic Y-Wing, not necessarily what you want late in the game, but it does allow Cassian to swing for 4 at the base. Some nice things to see right now would be some Plo Koons, some more Cassians, some Millennium Falcons, just some units that can either attack right away or swing for a lot of damage. So no good to me dead out on the soldier of the 501st, just to help mitigate that damage. We see another soldier come down, just trying to flood that board. Now we see Boba Fett come out for Justin. This does mean that when Jabba flips, that he does have a unit to capture one of my own. And so this turns into, how can I manipulate this situation into my favor? Most likely the Cassian dealing most damage will get captured, but I am holding a surprise strike in my hand, so I bring out the Han Solo without the ambush to entice the capture, with the idea that surprise strike into Boba Fett will get him right back and kind of mitigate that, and also keeps Cassian on the board. One of the reasons I decided not to ambush it in, because if Jabba deployed with that 2 power, could take out the Han Solo. And I wanted to keep the pressure on, keeping my units on the board, as I need to come in and get this 13 last points of damage on the base before we start seeing some big units. We might see some Cad Banes, some Mauls. We're going into 8 resources. Now, Justin didn't deploy Jabba here, so this indicates that might have something to take out some of the bigger units. We'll see what he has here. I'm sticking at 6 resources. Don't need much more than that. Just need to get a lot of small guys out on the battlefield here. Can't quite see what's in the hand. We do see a Cad Bane in there. It's likely doing the math, how much we can capture. However, with the health here, probably just capturing 2 units as a soldier of the 501st, and either Han or Cassian Andor. And that would leave another unit to come in to deal some damage. Now, that would slow things down. The question is, will that slow this ground assault down enough? Justin, having the initiative, gets to dictate how this turn plays out. And we see 7 and Maul coming out, ambushing with Overwhelm the Han Solo, dealing 3 more to base. 2 more to base. Han Solo having 5 health there. This does put Maul into the range of dying to a soldier of the 501st or even a daring raid. So looking into the row, tapping 3 for a hotshot blaster, putting it on the soldier of the 501st. You do that instead of the Cassian, because we know Jabba can come out and just capture whatever you don't attack with. Or in this case, if you put the upgrade on the strongest unit and they capture it, then your upgrade kind of isn't doing a whole lot. So in this way, you have another unit with 3 power. We see Republic Y-Wing come down. Boba Fett clearing out the exhausted soldier of the 501st, taking no damage back because it's on attack ability, and we see the daring raid take out Maul. Do 2 damage on the soldier of the 501st, 3 back on Jabba. Now this gives myself a great opportunity to take the initiative, deal a quick 4 to base, get Justin up to 25 damage. And with the blaster already on, we have the opportunity to activate the Han Solo leader ability to potentially get an extra point of damage. We see 2 for Surprise Strike, coming in for 7 damage there. Putting Justin really close. If there is a 3 or 5 cost card on the deck, on the top of the deck, the Republic Y-Wing will swing in for lethal. But we see Relentless Pursuit, capturing the Y-Wing, giving a shield to Boba Fett. So this will allow Boba Fett to clear the Soldier of the 501st. So I need something that can deal 2 more damage. We've already seen 2 daring raids, and that is all my daring raids. So we need something like a Cassian or a Millennium Falcon that can't be countered here. Now, in my hand, I am holding a Millennium Falcon, but I decide to hold onto that and do 5 and smuggle out a Cassian from the row. And we see No Good to Me Dead, a great play. Falcon would have also been a good idea there because with No Good to Me Dead, it can return back to the hand, kind of reset itself. So we now see Jabba taking out the Soldier of the 501st. So again, we're going to need that Falcon here without a way to stop it. But we know Justin has Cad Bane. And so anything that comes out can be captured. All right, so we see 3 go on to Cassian Andor, popping the shield off of Boba Fett. So that Cassian Andor will likely get initiated. It looks like in my hand I have some additional Falcons. How many I got 3 cards in hand. How many Millennium Falcons do I have? So we have the first Falcon come down, threatening lethal here, forcing Justin to tap 7, capturing the both Millennium Falcon and Cassian, and we see a second Falcon come out. And jokingly trying to play No Good to Me Dead from the discard. Doesn't have an answer in hand. The Falcon does the rest of the damage, and we see the third card was a Millennium Falcon. All right, so we're on game 2. Yeah, we didn't sideboard here, just a little friendly game. Justin will start with the initiative. We did change the camera angle a little bit. Feel free to let us know in the comments what looked better. We are still trying to figure out what's the best setup we have here. I also want to shout out those leader and base icons coming from the SWU competitive hub. So shout out to the team over there, staying on top of all of the competitive events and putting out some good stuff. So Justin passes here, probably to put a bounty on something. We see the Han Solo ability being used to scope the top card of the deck, then C-3PO coming down to draw it. And we see Reputable Hunter coming down. It is a 3 cost 3/4, but if there is an enemy unit with a bounty, it costs 1 less. So that is 1 turn 1 play. These Jabba decks like to run, but it also means that you give up the initiative, which means that I'll be able to use Han Solo's action ability and attack with C-3PO and keep drawing cards. So we see a Hot Shot Blaster being drawn. That will definitely be useful later in the game as we're trying to pump damage out. We see the bounty come down. Now, the Reputable Hunter is 1 damage away from killing that, but we see the Hunter of the Haxian Brood come out, and we see the reason for the bounty. With when an enemy unit has a bounty, Hunter of the Haxian Brood gains shielded. Now we have C-3PO's buddy R2-D2 coming out on the field. It allows you to scry the top. Here I am starting to flood the board with my small units here. The Reputable Hunter dealing 3 into R2. Justin's going to want to keep this board clear. But this does give an easy opportunity to maybe place a bounty on one of these droids and start getting some big stuff out early. There might be a Zuckuss in hand I may have seen. But we see the Sanctioner shuttle with coordinate active is able to capture the Hunter of the Haxian Brood. And then we see Relentless Pursuit capturing it right back, freeing the Hunter and giving a shield to the Reputable Hunter. They're all Hunters here. And we see another Sanctioner shuttle on the top. R2 is going to go into base for 2. Looks like that the extra point of damage was missed. That's okay. Just a friendly game here. The Reputable Hunter takes out R2-D2. We know what's on the top, so C-3PO is going to deal a point of damage to base, calling 3 off the top, drawing that Sanctioner shuttle. Great to have right now because we can capture the Reputable Hunter and get that that second shuttle back. So we're going into the flip turn for Han Solo. Notice there are 3 units out, but C-3PO does cost 2, which means it does not count towards the amount of units and upgrades that need to be out for Han Solo's flip ability. So deciding what to resource here, was able to draw quite a few cards off of C-3PO. This is something that the Han Solo decks like to have in order to enable those combos. Thermal Oscillator, of course, helping that out, get some additional cards, or just improve the consistency. See, Overwhelming Barrage dealing 6 damage, clearing out both those space units. It's looking really good for Justin here. We see the Han Solo ability. Drawing Waylay as we revealed Waylay, and then C-3PO attacks and guesses 3. Of course, C-3PO doesn't get the attack bonus off of that because it does not have its own odd cost, but it can still be chosen to attack, which makes this combo so great. So we see the Reputable Hunter deal 3 points to base, and the Millennium Falcon. This is a great card to have on the flip turn because even if they clear out your space units, you have a ready unit to flip onto. So the Hunter of the Haxian Brood clearing out C-3PO, shutting off that draw engine, but we see Han Solo flip and ready 2 resources. And it's going to swing in for 6 damage, bringing Justin's damage on base to 12, and now Waylay sending the Reputable Hunter back to hand, but most importantly, getting the Sanctioner shuttle back, just getting another unit for myself to flood the board in space, tapping 1 to keep the Falcon flying there. I have 5 resources open. Justin's going to go up to 6. Now, with all of these pump cards and things that come out ready like Cassian and Millennium Falcons, the damage can start racking up pretty quickly if Justin does not have an answer for these space units. We saw the contracted Jump Master in Game 1. We'll see if another one can be played to slow down the space onslaught. We see 4 into base from the Hunter of the Haxian Brood. And here there was some spectators asking what was going on with the camera here, what we were doing. So we just answered that there. So 6 into base, putting Justin up to 18. If there's not an answer for this Falcon, just 2 more hits from that, and it's game over. At 6 resources, not a whole lot of things to clear it out, other than Overwhelming Barrage, which we saw last turn. That would clear out the Sanctioner Shuttle, but the Millennium Falcon has 8 health, so it's going to be flying for a while. You see Zagirian Starhopper, and now 2 into base from the Sanctioner Shuttle, putting Justin up to 20 points of damage. Now the Houndstooth as a 4/3, and if it attacks a exhausted unit that didn't enter play that turn, it gains the what we call the Han Solo Shoot First ability, dealing combat damage before the defender. So we see C-3PO come out, did not successfully guess there. Justin claiming the initiative. You see 3 tapped for another Sanctioner Shuttle. Capturing the Houndstooth, just preventing it from taking anything out. We're likely going to see a resource tap to keep this Falcon flying because it does have the Han Solo leader on it. If it did get bounced, the leader would be defeated. And I certainly don't want that. I want to keep that extra damage. So we see Boshek getting added. That's where you discard 2 cards, and for any odd card, you get to draw it. See, looks like a Plo Koon and a Han Solo and a Sanctioner Shuttle in there. So great options. Trying to push damage here. We're going to tap 2 for the Han Solo just to get some extra damage in there and keep that Sanctioner Shuttle alive. So Justin at 24, the Millennium Falcon is threatening lethal here. And looks like there's nothing he can do, and takes out C-3PO, and the Falcon comes in for lethal. I hope you all enjoyed these fun games here, and I hope to get some more videos uploaded soon, and thanks for watching.